Yo, what's up everyone? Today I'm gonna share my DC here build with you. So let's go straight to the gear because we have multiple options at this point. I'm running the Depth Forged helm because I needed to cap out some power. So the 5 stacks in total, 5% power, help me a lot depending on your build. This could be the one from MDS that stacks up 5% crit strike and outgoing healing. So, or you could even go for the new ones from MSOD, MSOD. For the chest, I'm using the Enchanted Depth Forged breastplate to cap out my critical strike and critical severity. I'm using still the ultraviolet elven gloves. Compared to the other gloves, they give me 25% divinity instead of 20. For the weapons, we have multiple options. I'm using the magma weapons to cap out my power. I could also run either the Void Touched or Mastercraft. This depends a little bit on the group setup itself. For the boots, I'm using the prismatic lumen step sabatons to increase my divinity regen, and you get the proc with every tick of the healing word. For the artifacts, at the bottom you just run your set artifacts, some stat artifacts, and the debuff artifact you actually run that will depend on the group setup. Last time I ran the Dragonbone Blade, but it could be also a Last Scepter or like the Pally Sigil if you would be assigned to third hypo. Mirror is set for the debuff on the boss, so it takes more damage. The Lawsian Aberrance for critical severity. Oh, I skipped the ring. The Dreadwalker Loop for a little bit power, and Forte. Forte means divinity regen. The Bloodwoven symbols are basically just a replacement for my old shirt. It also gives you 5 times 1.5% outgoing healing. The Cerebral Predator ink for a little bit crit serve. On stats I put everything into dexterity and wisdom. The most important part is just wisdom for outgoing healing. If we go to the enchantments, this depends a little bit. I needed a little bit power and crit serve rating, so I put into Garnet and Cobalt enchantments. For the overloads, I run a Devout position for my crit strike and the demonic empowerment for a little bit increased AP gain. The combat enchantment depends on the build, to be fair. On this build, I'm using the lightning flash to cap out my crit strike. I could also change my ring if I finally get the crit strike ring, and then go for the flash wreath. Movement speed bonus, also self-explaining. You want to be fast, you want to survive. For the mounts, last time I was running Pegasus. It could also have been like a Swarm, Red Dragon, Brainstealer Dragon. For the equip power, mostly you end up on Runic Aura, Mythic Aura or Providence, so make sure you have them. For the insignia bonus, I'm just running 2 Cautious Devotions that I'm actually thinking about replacing again. The buff itself is not really worth it. Even if you would run it 5 times, that's just 5% outgoing healing and 2.5k Forte, so it's not the best bonus. Shepherd's Devotion, just for the buff when you use your daily on the mitigations. A little bit increased defense and movement speed on your DPS will help them survive. 2 Mana's Covenant to cap out my stats. For the collars, the only collars that are really important to me are the critical strike, critical severity collars, sorry about that, and my outgoing healing collar. The other collars are just here for the item level. Let's go straight to the companions. As active companion, it depends again. This could be a Portobello, a Tudor, a Flapjack, a Drist, a Spine, so make sure you have multiple buff and debuff companions. For companion equipment, I'm still using the one from Mountain of Flame, and I would definitely not replace this for the newer ones. The reason are just basically the stats. This one gives me critical strike and outgoing healing. This helps me more to cap out my stats than the weird companion gear the Heat's gotten now with Red Harvest. For the enhancement, this also varies a little bit. It depends on the group. One will run dual sense, one will run slowed reactions, one will run vulnerability. This word is so ass. I'm sorry about that. Let's go to the companions. Raptor, it is self-explaining, it's mandatory. The Alpha Compy to cap out my power, the Golden Bullet Pup to cap out my outgoing healing, The Baby Deep Crow for power and Grom for a little bit more crit strike. The Boons, as you see, there's nothing really special. The only thing I did was also putting in the healing potion bonus, because sometimes if I know the group will need a little bit more heal, I will swap my utility boon to the group healing boon and use also healing potions to increase the heal, because the boons proc with each other. For the powers, there is nothing special. The Sacred Flame, you will use it as often as you can to proc your Marilis set, and before you cast any healing, you want your Blessing of Light. Just press it once and throw your heal. For the encounters, Bastion of Health, Healing Word. Healing Word is your main source of healing. You use Bastion of Health basically when somebody drops in a scary amount of HP. Astra Shield, you use it on every mitigation. Dailies, Hallowed Ground, especially for the mitigations. And if you have spare AP, throw a Guardian of Life. It will help everyone survive or save some divinity. For the class features, Expanded Face for the 150 divinity. Hallowed Guide, because most of the time, most of the group will be close to you and you get that 5% additional healing. The feats, Repeated Blessings. You can read this for yourself. It's mostly self-explaining. The only one that's really important are these two: Persisting Guardian, so your Angel of Faith stays Guardian of Faith, stays a little bit longer up, and Angel of Life. Angel of Life allows you, like in P7 of MSOD, to spam heals. Most DCs use it directly at the start, but depending on the situation and how full your divinity is, you could also use it later. For the buff foods, I'm using Flask of Potency, Squash, Wildstorm, and Zurich. Zurich for a little bit more outgoing healing rating. The interesting part would be, that was one too much, the belt items. The Mythic Dragon actually helps with the AP gain, and the more AP gain you have, the more dailies you're gonna throw out. So, this was my DC build. I hope it helps you run and complete MSOD. Have fun building your own.